confidence builder.
As they say in Westwood, California, where this young man lives, this vault is way hard.
Way hard.
He is up there. He cranks it around. That is really world-class stuff. You'll notice he's going to cartwheel on, get a good push, crank that twist. A lot to do, and it's amazing he kept such good form in the air.
So now it's David St. Pierre who awaits his score. He has a 9-6 to beat.
I haven't said hi every day. Hi.
And he scores a 9-6. And that moves him into a tie with Patrick Kirksey. Can there be a tie in this event,
Yes, there can. And Patrick actually did a vault that was a little higher and a little farther, but certainly not as complicated.
One competitor left in the vault.
Had David stuck that vault, there's no question that would be the #1 vault of the day. This vault here is also very exciting.
Mike Racanelli.
Handspring front with a full. That just might be our winner. That is a nice vault.
May not have to worry about ties, folks. He loves it.
This vault is very difficult to land because we'll notice he's flipping forward. You don't see the ground until the last minute. This is a great angle to see how this vault works. He's going to do a handspring onto the horse, tuck a front, and then crank a full twist. Watch, he's looking for the floor. He doesn't even see it until after his feet are on the ground. That is a blind landing.
Here's another point to make, too. You notice the horse in men's competition in a different position than it is in women's competition.
Right, the men vault long ways and the women vault sideways.
And an excellent vault by Mike Racanelli. Now the only question, will it be enough to move ahead of Patrick Kirksey and David St. Pierre? 9-7, and we have a new winner in the vault. Mike Racanelli has won the vault, and once again, it continues the string of new winners in each event. Racanelli wins this event. Tim Ryan won the still rings, Chris Waller won the pommel horse, and Lance Ringnahl won the floor exercise. And you wonder what kind of shape the American men's team is in. It's starting to look, Bart, more and more as though it's in pretty darn good shape.
It certainly does, and vaulting has been a weak event for the American team for a long time. Patrick Kirksey, as you'll see with his vault here, does a full twisting a kasamatsu in the laid out position. Nice form in the air, and boy, good job in controlling that landing. Once again, as you mentioned, the American team is looking much stronger, and a lot of improvement on vault.
Let's talk about some of the changes that have taken place in the American team. Of course, they hit the glory point in your year, in 1984. From that point on, well, things didn't really go too well, but now they've really taken steps.
Well, the U.S. team certainly did have a lot of trouble in the World Championships in '85 and '87. The '88 games, they placed 11th. There's a whole new coaching staff now, led by Bill Meade, Mas Watanabe, Jim Hartung, my Olympic teammate, and Ed Birch, the coach of Lance Ringnahl and formerly of Cheney Humphrey. There's a lot more training camps. There's incentive money for the athletes. The athletes who make the national team and are eligible for this money can earn some money to help defray some of their training costs. So they're making some significant changes, and I think it's going to show up in the next few years with the men's program.
Here are the numbers in the vault competition. Mike Racanelli, 970, wins it over Patrick Kirksey and David St. Pierre. We mentioned St. Pierre is in the midst of an outstanding competition for him. Lance Ringnahl, he won the floor exercise, has to settle for 4th place here. He was trying to best Bart Connor's record of more than 8 medals in a competition, in a festival competition. Conrad Borsanger and Gerard Hanks winds up in number 6th place. The interesting thing, too, here, Bart, and this is very similar to what the women have going, is that these 5 or 6 or 7 top men gymnasts will be competing against each other. And as a result of that, I have to think that competition is going to make them better in international competition.
Well, that's been a big problem with the U.S. team. There's been no consistency and no transition period from the great teams to the developmental teams. The U.S. team that won the gold in '84 began working out together in 1981. Well, this is what's happening now. This team is together, and they're hot, and they're training heading into the '92 games. Things look very good.
Yeah, and it just seems as though they will not be awed by what they might see on the international scene. Yes, the Russians have been dominant for a long time, but it doesn't seem to really matter. When we come back, we'll have track and field.
Cheney opens with a peach handstand, powerful mount. That's called a giant swing. There's a giant with a half, a little sloppy there. Now Cheney seems like he's in a little bit of a hurry. His routine is very difficult, but it's not quite as smooth as the routine we saw earlier from guys like Kevin Davis and Lance Ringnauld. There's a Stutz. He's a little over, has to fight that handstand. There's a tuck double back.
Well, Cheney Humphrey with a good performance on the parallel bars, but a very big question mark as to whether it will be good enough.
I think the judges will 1/10 him to death because although the routine was very good, there were 1/10 of a point deductions here and there that are going to add up. There's the tuck double back. Nicely done. But he never got into the smooth rhythm that I've seen him get into before on the parallel bars.
You'll have a chance in a moment to see exactly what Bart Conner was just talking about, because we will have, from a moment ago, Lance Ringnauld on the parallel bars, and he is the apparent winner. We say apparent because we still will wait for Cheney Humphrey's score. And Ringnauld had to come from behind a little bit himself because Kevin Davis had put a pretty good score up there ahead of him, a 9.75. Tom Schlesinger had a 9.7 before him, and 9.6 is the score, as you see, for Cheney Humphrey. So under normal circumstances, a pretty good score, but in this case, not nearly enough to hold up to this man.
There's no question also that this is one of Lance Ringnald's most improved events. I like his mount. He jumps right into a plunge. That's called a Pete straddle cut on the end. Now watch this. He's way out on the end of the bars. He's going to do a giant swing. Way out there. And then a giant front uprise to a front 1 1/4. Good combination. There's a very high reverse Stutz. Now in comparison with Cheney's routine, notice he's a little smoother. Takes his time on that Diamondov. A little smoother swing. Doesn't seem to be in a hurry. Nice handstand, Stutz, Stutz. Here comes his dismount. Pike double back.
And I think what you saw is a classic example right here, and a graphic example of why that was a 9.8 score, and Cheney Humphrey, you saw a moment ago, scored a 9.6.
Once again, let's take a look at this mount. This is pretty tough stuff. He jumps right into a plunge. It takes a tremendous amount of strength. Then he's going to lower to this Pete straddle cut. He's way out on the end. Swing the handstand. Here comes the giant. Notice he's out on the end of those bars. This is the dismount from the handstand. He does a pike double back. Good, clean form. One short hop on the landing, but that's the only deduction in that routine.
And that was enough for him to win it. 9.8 his score on parallel bars. That's his second gold medal in this event final. He won the men's floor exercise, remember, just a moment ago. Here's the way it stands then in the parallel bars. Ringnauld wins it. Kevin Davis with a fine performance himself is second. Tom Schlesinger is third. Vorsanger, Racanelli, and Humphrey finish tied for fourth. Back with more right after this.
They're all accomplished vaulters. They've all done great things on vault in the past, and I'm really happy to do my best vault this meet. I was really psyched about it.
Well, are you where you want to be in preparation for the World Championships coming up in October?
Not quite yet, but I don't think I want to be ready just yet because it's a long way off yet, and I don't want to peak too early. You know, I try not to think of myself as peaking and you know, highs and lows, but it's a long way off yet, so I'm going to pace myself.
Well, congratulations on vault and continued good luck.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Kathy, and congratulations to Mike Racanelli. Incidentally, we mentioned the fact that Lance Ringnauld was expected to win a whole bunch of medals. He has done just that. He's won 3 golds and 1 silver. But look at David St. Pierre. 1 gold, 1 silver, 3 bronze. Not bad. We'll be back.
Ringnauld of Albuquerque, New Mexico, was the youngest U.S. Olympic gymnast in Seoul. He took second at the 1989 U.S. National Championships. And Thursday night, Lance dominated the all-round in men's gymnastics. He scored a near-perfect 9.85 on the floor exercise, the parallel bars, and the horizontal bar. For Lance Ringnauld, another golden moment.
Thank you, Jim. And this one really highly competitive. We sat down, actually, before we began today's competition, and we said, well, who do we look for in the high bar? And Bart Conner and Kathy Johnson agreed you can look for any one of the 6 competitors.
High bar is always that way. It's one of those hit or miss events. It's very exciting because it comes down to who sticks the landings and who catches those high-flying release moves.
Kevin Davis Davis first up. Listen to the crowd. Can't say enough about the good folks here in Oklahoma City. That's great.
Well, they're in for quite a show here on the high bar, and certainly Kevin Davis scored a 9.75 in the preliminaries here. He's one who can win this thing. In fact, Kevin has a new sequence he's just put in his routine. It's a combination of release elements. We'll see it early. There's a stalder. Okay, now here it comes. One-arm giant over the top to a reverse hecht. He's out there, and there's the Ginger. Beautiful. Boy, he is right on.
That is good stuff.
Look at that jam right to the handstand. That's the inverted giant swings. That's also a requirement. Hop pirouette. This exercise is hot. Can he stick the dismount? It's a full out. Oh, one step.
Kevin Davis.
What a treat. This crowd is really enjoying this routine. Watch this combination. One arm over the top. He is right where he wants to be as he does the reverse hecht to a Ginger. That's new for him, and he performed it like he's done it thousands of times. Here's the dismount. This is the only place where he gave up any points at all. It's a laid out, full out. He's very high, has plenty of rotation, just a little too much rotation. Patrick Kirksey opens with a wrong way stalder to a pirouette. That's a D move, one of the high-level difficulty elements the judges are looking for. Here's his release sequence. Those two Tkachevs with a giant in between. Different from some of the other gymnasts who did the release moves immediately. Patrick opted to do a giant in between. He's improving a lot on high bar because he is upgrading his difficulty, but wait till you see this dismount. This is one of the best triples being done in the world.
So far, flawless.
Here it comes. There it is, 1, 2, 3. Oh!
However, that'll cost him. Tough.
Here's the Tkachev with his legs together. He does the giant swing there. You'll notice he goes over the top and sets up for the next Tkachev. This one legs apart. Of course, this move was invented by the Soviet gymnast Alexander Tkachev about 10 years ago. This dismount is big time. This is world-class stuff. He's high. He's got tremendous amount of flip. I called it 1, 2, 3, but it was about 1, 2, 3 and a quarter.
And that was the problem. It was the quarter that cost him.
This is up there. Look at him crank that thing around. That's called cowboy when you pull your legs apart, because at that moment you're kind of going, yahoo!
You're going make a wish. And the score for Patrick Kirksey, 9.3, and it was definitely the dismount that cost him.
But once again, you can see it on his face. This is the finals. They're going for everything here, and that really makes it a pleasure.
And you might have just heard him say there, right behind you, Bart, saying it was one of the best routines I've ever done. He just missed the dismount. And that was barely. Final competitor, Chris Waller.
Chris scored a 9.8 in the preliminaries. He has great high bar routine. There's a full over, one-arm giant, full twist pirouette. Reverse hecht, great form, right to a Ginger. That's the highest one of the day. He's very aggressive. Notice how quick he is. Good, clean form. Toe point is excellent. Those are those eagle giant swings.
Gonna come down to the dismount again.
Double twisting double. He's got to stick it.
He did it! But a step, a step. Good, but is it good enough?
Boy, this whole high bar final has been one great routine after the next. This release sequence is terrific. There's a reverse hecht. Look at how high he is on this Ginger. It's a backflip with a half twist. He is up there. He continued through his exercise. Good form here. This is a double twisting, double back, And once again, Lance Ringgold is the master at sticking, and if you hope to even challenge Lance, you can't let those feet move. Once again, 2 flips and 2 twists in the tuck position is very complicated.
Just that little hop. I thought he had it when he landed. And it'll probably cost him the gold medal. That shows you what I know. I lied. 9-8.